All right, guys, fourth and last question. This one is about TCC resources. So yes, we are assuming that the struggling student in your scenario is going to TCC. So the first part of this question is going to be, why are resources important? If you remember, we talked about resources the first week that we were together. So it might not have been the first night of class, but it was definitely the second night of class. And I gave you a handout that was a list of little teeny tiny case scenarios, and you wrote down where you would go on campus to get help with that particular issue. So we're going to talk about those things tonight, or tonight. I'm in my office tonight. That's what I want you to think about for the final exam. And I want you to think about what Sarah needs. So for the first part of the question, it's why are resources important? And what you should know going into this is that we don't put anything on this campus that hasn't been thoroughly thought out and planned and researched. For example, the Learning Commons was a huge, huge financial investment. It was construction, it was staffing, it was resources in there like computers and extra copies of textbooks and tables and chairs, and all that stuff costs money. But someone or a group of someone's on campus had a vision for a place where students could go to get support. And that Learning Commons has been a model for other facilities around the world at this point. We've even had people from China or Japan or China or something like that come and tour our Learning Commons to look at it and so that they could copy our model in their institutions overseas. FSU has a Learning Commons now. We had ours first. They came and saw what great things were happening over here and made their own stuff happen. But the point is, when you're answering that question, why are resources important? Part of it is that those resources are proven to be hallmarks or ways that students are more successful. We have data that shows that students who use the resources on campus are more likely to succeed. They are succeeding. They're doing better. We actually track, when you go to the Learning Commons and log in from one of those computers, we're tracking that you came and that you used the computer. We keep track of things like when tutors are used and stuff like that. So all this stuff gets tracked. So at the end of a semester, when someone like Sarah comes along who's working full time and trying to take 5 classes and doesn't know what the heck she's doing, she ends up with 2 C's by the skin of her teeth, a D and 2 F's, and we can look at her and say, okay, this is how Sarah did. She failed her math class and she failed her English class, and you know what? She never once came to the Learning Commons to get her paper proofread, never came to work with a math tutor, she never took advantage of the resources. So that's a clue. And then we've got, Sarah's twin sister, Billie Jean, who came to the Learning Commons and worked with a tutor on her math classes, and she ended up with 4 A's and a B. She also took advantage of other resources on campus so that she's not working all the time, working an outside job. So let's think about what Sarah needs. The first thing, resources are important for her to succeed because they are designed with the student in mind. The resources are how you're going to get through. Nobody does this alone. Nobody goes through college, really, nobody goes through life without support. We all need support. We need other people. We need community members. We need like-minded individuals. We need books. We need Google. We need ways to find information and make decisions and move forward. We need support. So that's why resources are important. And then the next part of the question is a list of 4 things that Sarah could benefit from on campus. So if you look back at that handout that I gave you where we talked about all the different resources, what I want you to do for this part, this question, is think about what are 4 resources that would help Sarah. So what I get a lot for this question is students who write down, well, campus police could help Sarah because she might lock her keys in her car. Totally true. Sarah might lock her keys in her car. But that's really kind of general, and I'm glad you know that. But let's think about what would help Sarah with the math homework issue. What would help Sarah with the full-time work and 5 classes issue? Excuse me. What would help Sarah learn how to organize herself better? What would help Sarah make better decisions? Those kinds of things. So Sarah might need to fill out a financial aid form. That's a resource that's going to financial aid. Sarah might need to get a schedule of when math tutors are available or when the Learning Commons are open and go there at those times and sit down, bring her math book and her workbooks and her, her notes and all that stuff and go through them with someone. That might be something that benefits Sarah. Sarah might need to go to the gym to reduce stress. That's absolutely fine. The gym is a student resource. You can put that. Sarah might also need to talk to a mental health counselor and talk about how she struggles with making decisions and moving forward, maybe even her communication skills. Maybe she has a hard time approaching her boss, and for all we know, they just give her a schedule and she just says, okay, and doesn't, really think about, maybe she doesn't like conflict. So we need to think of resources that are going to actually help the individual student as much as possible. All right, so that wraps up my video series of the midterm exam review. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Remember to watch these, take notes, be ready to answer the parts of the questions. Bring your questions to class on June 10th, and I look forward to seeing you then. All right, take care. Bye.